Hey, welcome back, Last Boy Scouts. It's Reid the Beard with Scottie the Professor. This episode, we're going to do a little Q&A with Brandon Craig. He was with us on the last two episodes with the knife making. So we want to sit down with Brandon and kind of pick his brain and get a little information on how he comes up with his designs. So should be interesting to talk to Brandon. What do you think, Scottie? What are you looking forward to?
I'm very excited for this torture test we got coming up. Just to give you guys a little look at the bad boy here real quick. Don't want to give away everything that we got in store, but stick around, it's going to be awesome.
So with that being said, let's get to work, put these things, put these knives to their test, and stick around, folks. It's going to be a good one. So we're here with Brandon Craig, our knife maker that you saw in the last episode. We're going to put his knife that he made us through a few tests. One of the first things we want to do is we want to see how square that spine on the back of this knife is. We're going to use a ferro rod with the knife to strike it. What do you think, Brandon? You think we got a good chance to catch some good sparks with that?
I think we have a great chance. The back of these knives is pretty sharp. I made sure that when I got the back of these knives filed down before the heat treat, that we have a nice sharp edge specifically for a purchase on a ferro rod or processing fat wood.
All right.
So I think we have a great shot at getting some nice strikes off of that.
All right, so we'll go ahead and put that to the test. So let's go ahead and get our ferro rod out, our trusty Uberleben ferro rod that we always have with us. There's our knife. We're going to turn the knife over, utilizing the spine of the knife. I'll tell you what, I think that passes that test fairly well. So we're going to move on to the next test and see how we perform there.
All right, so this next test, we're going to be trying out some batoning. Now, from one of our previous videos on our blade basics, Reid showed us a great tutorial on how to do batoning and notching. So this is just another demonstration. We're going to test Brandon's blade that he made and see how well it holds up. Here's our baton. Here's our tool, and we're just testing this piece of birch wood. All right, so here we go. I'm gonna go about halfway there, and I'm just gonna start from about the middle area of the blade. Oh yeah. Okay, it's got a great end. I could probably twist this bad boy and break it, but here, check this out. Just a little bit of light pressure. Like butter. And there you go. That's your batoning.
So for our next test, we're going to, lack of better words, we're going to beat the crap out of this knife on a piece of very hard wood. Brandon, what do you think? How do you think it's going to hold up?
I think it'll hold up quite well.
All right.
I am more than ready for this test.
Good. Now, we already inspected the knife after we did the batoning. No chips, no rolls, no snags, no glinting. So I'm looking forward to, well, honestly, just torturing the hell out of this thing. So I can go ahead and get my lanyard here so knife doesn't fly off. And
So I'm guessing this is like a forged in fire. It's not what my knife does to the plum wood, but
this
it's what
is
the plum
exactly
wood does
what
to
that
the
is.
knife.
Let's
Yeah.
see what the plum wood does to the knife, not what the knife does to the plum wood. But I'm more interested to see what it's going to do to this plum wood. No glinting, no chips, no rolls. All we got is some mark from the wood on there. Brandon, highly impressed. And this wood is some of the hardest wood that I've ever cut into with a knife. And all my knuckles are a little bloody, but I'll tell you what, supremely impressed. The only drawback that I have to this, and I know that's something we've talked about, is the handles have got a little roundness to it, so it rolls just a little bit in my hand. Yeah. Other than that, I don't see myself using this knife in that manner in the wilderness. So I'm not worried about the rolling so much. I'm not planning on chopping down trees with it. So I'll tell you what, highly impressed. Let's move on to the next test. So our next test, well, we're actually going to put it to use, something that you would actually do in the field. As far as processing your firewood for a fire, is we're going to do a little bit of feather sticking. Now I've got a larger piece here just because I want to be able to take a lot off. But one of the things we want to do is we want to show just how sharp this blade is and how fine we can use that blade for as far as small work. I think that proves a point right there, that you can use this knife to do refined work also, along with some of the mass damage work we've already done. Brandon, man, supremely impressed with the performance of this weapon.
Well, thank you.
But we've got a couple other things yet to come, so stand by.
So my local meat market was completely out of pig carcasses, and I wanted to try this knife out on something fairly meaty. Being that it's Halloween, what better than a good old pumpkin?
I think I'm going to step out of this picture.
I think that's probably wise. Well, I think that kind of speaks for itself. It's very, very sharp. I'm very pleased with this knife. Now I gotta go wash it and get all the meat off.
Completed the torture test. We want to sit down with Brandon and kind of get to know him a little bit. Also, we wanted to ask him some questions about his process and what he has planned down the road. But before we get started, we like to do a little lightning round of questions. Scotty, you have anything you want to ask him?
Yeah, we're just starting out with a basic introduction. Brandon, just tell us your name. Obviously, we'll call you Brandon or Craig, but introduce yourself and just give us a little bit of background on yourself, your career, yourself, and how it led you to building blades.
Well, like I've mentioned in the blade building episode, I think it was episode 1, I've had metal fabrication for the last 20 plus years, and it's led me to push those skills in somewhere, I guess, trying to do something that not a lot of people are doing. In this area, I found that there's only a couple other people making knives in our local area. So I just thought it was kind of cool to get into knives. Growing up, I've always had a passion for blades. I never really had the money to buy blades. Mm-hmm. Well, now I kind of have that knowledge in making my own blades. And I've always kind of had a saying that why buy a knife for $100 when I can make it for $1,000? So I figured, well, hell, why don't I build me my own knife shop so I could build me a couple $100 blades for, a couple $1,000. So I figured out why not. And now it's a hobby. I got people lining up and actually buying knives now. That video has definitely made me pretty busy, to the point where I have graduated from that little tiny belt grinder in that video to now a full-size 2x72-inch grinder. So I'm in the process of building that right now. Here in the near future, I'll be adding a power hammer and a forging press to that to start making Damascus and making nicer things.
Awesome.
That's well. I'm glad that we could kind of help you out and kind of get your name out there. That's kind of what we're all about, is being able to help out those of us in our community, in that kind of bushcraft survival type community. And we were happy to have you. We're happy to display your product, and we're happy that you're moving forward and being able to actually do something really creative and awesome with that. But more importantly, I have my questions. Scotty, want to know background history, where you're from. My question is, I have 2 very important questions for you. 1, big spoon, little spoon.
Oh, man. Well, go big or go home, right?
All right, very good. So, Snickers bars, veins up, veins down.
I don't know. I think the veins up.
I got questions about you. So, and also, favorite flavor of ice cream?
Favorite flavor of ice cream? It's got to be cookie dough. Cookie dough ice cream. That's where it's at.
We might have to end this interview a little early, so
Yeah.
So anyway, hey, let's move forward. we like to catch people off guard. If we're gonna ask them questions, we like to have a little fun.
Hey, I'm up for whatever.
Yeah, catch people off guard.
Not quite whatever, but for.
Let's move forward. So,
please.
So, you stated in your last video you've got about 20 years of metal fab. Mm-hmm. And you kind of already covered what our first question would be is, why knives? Was there a specific thing, is it because your like for knives, or was there something else? Was it like, this is something that I really have a passion for? Or is it, did you want to look at it more of like a business type decision? Or was it kind of a combination of both?
Well, when I first got into it, it had been a few years ago. And I came up with the idea, I'm going to try to make my own knife. And I had somebody tell me, you can't do it. So for me, that's like, oh yeah? Okay.
So
I'll show you that.
It was definitely a challenge for you.
Yeah, so the first blade I did approximately maybe 6-7 years ago. And I had kind of honed my skills with that, started researching how to harden blades, how to soften them, because I started using bastard files as my blade material. And then...
What is a bastard file?
So a bastard file is just a metalworking file. So here on these knives, I used a farrier's rasp. So it's for filing horse hooves and horseshoes and stuff like that. Well, a bastard file is a metalworking file. They're flat, and they made very hard blades. The old files. Now a new file, they're not all high carbon steel to the core. So I always like to stick with older files if I could. So that's kind of what started that. And then once I got making them, I'm like, hey, I can actually do this. So then I started making a few more and a couple more, and then it got the interest of other people wanting them. So I decided, well, let's see where I could take this. And it's kind of led me to when I teamed up with you guys, and you guys tasked me to make a bushcraft knife for the channel. I thought, why not? Let's do it. And then since then, I think I've made 6 of these blades so far.
And that was my next question. You know, why that specific design? Was there anything outside of us tasking you with that design, that specific design? Was that one that you were looking at making anyway? That type of design?
Technically, no. I really wasn't looking into really doing that design until you had hit me up saying, hey, I think this would be a pretty cool design to do. And I got to researching it, and I was like, you know, I think that would work out great. And then, because it's kind of the knife that a lot of bushcrafters are using now.
Right.
And because it is a pretty diverse blade.
It is. And it's for those who are kind of wondering, it's basically an offshoot of what's called the Kephart design. So the Kephart design is a basic, very, very basic blade shape. It's somewhere between it's basically a drop point blade, but it's very basic, but it's very utilitarian. It can be used for a number of different things, like we showed, you know, from chopping to fine whittling work, to carving a pumpkin. So that's why we tasked Craig, and I'm supremely impressed. And I've said it time and time again, and I'll keep saying it. I think he's done an absolutely phenomenal job of stepping up to the task, and we thank you. I mean, we definitely do.
Well, thank you. I've enjoyed working with you guys on this stuff. It's actually been really, really enjoyable.
Yeah, one thing I want to add to that is I've been supremely impressed as well. All the knives that I've purchased thus far have all had coatings on them, and it's made it very difficult, unless I'm actually using the blade to strike my ferro rod, to get that good purchase and get that solid stream of sparks in order to start a fire. But I've been very impressed by the fact that you made those hard 90s on the back of this blade in order to get that good strike on your ferro rod. So I gotta definitely give you a compliment for that. You hit the nail on the head as far as making this for bushcrafting, apart from its outstanding abilities.
Well, thank you.
Fire is so imperative, and I think that's one of the reasons why Reid and I decided to do Fire Building 101 is our very first video.
You can't survive without a fire out in the wilderness. So your tools need to be able to allow you to start a fire. And you know, you guys have covered flint and steel, and I've even incorporated the ferro rod into my knife sheaths for people that use ferro rods. And because I believe it's important that we have multiple ways of starting fires in a positive way, of course. You know, don't be careless and lighting your forest fire. You know, your forest on fire, because right now, you know, that we are in California, we are well aware of what's going on in our backyard. So unfortunately, fire can also be a negative part too. But in a survival situation, if you don't have any means of lighting a fire, you don't have water, you don't have a lot of things.
Right.
Absolutely.
And like we've said before in our fire building video, fire is life. In a survival situation, fire is life. Without that fire, you can't really take any steps forward. So, any questions you have for?
Yeah. Now that you've done a bushcraft style knife, the Bush Rasp Sr. here, what is your plans for your next signature knife that you want to construct?
Well, I do have a Bushcraft or Bush Rasp Jr. It's a little smaller than these.
Okay.
Same farrier's rasps, same thickness. They're 3/16 thick. But I had some people reach out to me and said that their hands might be a little bit smaller than most, and they were wanting a smaller blade. So I'm trying to...
Burger King hands?
I guess so. So I'm trying to come up with something that's a little bit smaller for people to grasp a little easier for the smaller folk.
Now, you're talking about you're coming up with that. Do you have any other designs in mind? I did see that this is a newer knife that you've just that you brought today, and this one is not from the Bush Rasp or from the Rasps. Correct. So tell us a little bit about this, and do you have other designs down the road?
So this blade here is out of a 1095 steel, 3/16 thick, and it was something that I had brought up for myself. I thought, you know, this would be a nice design to have. Still has the Bushcraft shape, kind of the Kepart shape to it, but I wanted to change up the handle because I've noticed after I started making these, I've noticed that a lot of handles are very similar to these here. So I wanted to change it up a little bit, come up with that design there, and kind of change things up a little bit. I do have drawings in the making for through tang blades. So these here are full tang blades. I am very partial to the full tang blade because I believe, in my opinion, they are the strongest. And especially for bushcraft work, I like a full tang blade because we are really abusing these knives. Seeing that, you know, the work we had here, I don't want any flex in that handle. But I am working on a few different things. On a through tang knife, I'm working on some Tonto style blade.
So we've discussed kind of everything as far as your designs and what got you into this. So what do you see now as far as the business-wise? You've talked about how you would like to potentially make this a business. Are you looking to do this like as a full-time job, or is this something just a side job in your own business? Give us a little bit of what you're thinking of down the road.
Well, for right now, it's kind of a side hustle, I guess, but also a hobby. I enjoy doing it. Of course, I make more money with my current job than I do doing this, but it's a hobby, so I enjoy doing it. So I really don't see it as a business yet. I would like for it to be a business, possibly working into a retirement business. Okay. So I don't have to work until the day I die, and be able to enjoy the things I do along with it, and have a little extra on the side as well.
Well, remember the old saying, if you enjoy what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
Absolutely correct.
So, well, great. Scott, any questions that you want to, we're kind of getting near the end here. We've demonstrated what the knives can do. We've kind of gotten to know Brandon a little bit. Any kind of final questions we want to ask of him before we...
Yeah, I just want to make sure that Brandon, first and foremost, thank you for doing this for us. I know we had been talking. You were a member of the Last Boy Scouts already. You were getting all your gear ready, getting all your pack ready, and to go out and have your own wilderness adventures. And we were happy to be a part of that driving motivation to get you on that right path. Thank you for reaching out to us and offering to do this. It's been a blast.
It's been a lot of fun.
Throw out there to the folks how they can get a hold of you, so that way if anybody's interested in your work and want to get their hands on one of these bad boys themselves, I want to make sure that they have the right information. Okay,
yeah. I'm on pretty much everything but Twitter. TikTok, I'm at Craigs_custom_creations. Same thing on IG. On Facebook, you can find me under the Last Boy Scouts page under Brandon Jean. You can find me there. I'm always posting stuff on what I'm doing, all the knives I'm doing. I'm posting to the Last Boy Scouts page on there. Yeah, man. So you see me around there. If you have any questions, feel free to message me on IG, on TikTok, on Facebook Messenger, anywhere there. Comment on one of my posts that I post on there, and I'd be happy to answer any questions or work with anybody. I don't just do this, so if you have an idea and you'd like to see something of your own idea, let me know, and I can see what I can do for you.
Maybe some custom one-off type.
Yeah, definitely. I'm all about doing something that no one else has done. So
absolutely.
I've already. I'm maybe not trying to reveal too many secrets of what he's got coming up, but I've already thrown a couple ideas his way, and he's got some very outstanding custom ideas for bushcraft related items that he'll be coming out with here soon. So stay tuned for that.
So, Last Boy Scouts, we want to thank you for stopping by again. We want to give a few shout outs before we sign out. We want to give a shout out to Jeff K at Canada Survival and Bushcraft. Jeff's been a big supporter, so we definitely want to say thank you for that. Also, we want to Mike and Tracy Gillum at Deep Woods Survival. Again, big supporters. We're glad that you've been there, and go check out their Facebook pages and join their groups. Also, our friend from across the pond, Adam Pill, Adam Arrow Outdoors. Still haven't picked up the hat from the post office yet, but he sent me some swag, and next video we'll definitely have out there. We also want to say congratulations. He recently got married, and brother, we had to say congratulations to you and Skull from here in the U.S. to you in Sweden. Scotty, anybody you want to mention?
Absolutely. I got a couple shout outs of my own. Now, I had to make sure that they were put down so I said them properly, but didn't forget these individuals, and I want to make sure they knew just how much we appreciate them, their support, and their continued hard work and the outdoors. First and foremost, William Sue. He invited us to his group based out of Brazil, which is the Familia Matera, Survival and Bushcraft. It's been fun being part of that group, brushing up on some of the lost language that I once was able to speak. Not Portuguese, but Spanish. A lot of that's very synonymous in speaking, but been fun hanging out with them and seeing all the great things that they're doing out there in their neck of the woods, as well as Ray Wiley from Wilderness Bushcraft and Survival Skills. It's been great hanging out with you and bantering back and forth and hearing about all the great stuff you're doing out there. We wish you luck in all your future videos and activities that you do out there, and keep doing what you're doing, and we're going to keep supporting you from our end.
So keep your eyes open down the road here real soon. We are in the works of developing a website so that you can contact us through that. Also, it looks like we're going to have a store attached to that website so you can get some of that Last Boy Scout swag down the road. We're in the development process right now, and it's obviously we're not doing any kind of subscription based or anything like that. It's just an open website with some blog spots. We're going to be asking some people probably down the road to add to our website as far as those blogs and different articles and discussing kind of that wilderness bushcraft mindset and their skills. So with that being said, Scotty?
Thank you all for subscribing. Thank you for your viewership. We appreciate you. We could not do this without the support of all of you out there. So a big, big thank you. So with that being said, our signature sign off: stay safe, stay vigilant, knowledge is your weapon.
Be prepared. And being this month of October, Last Boy Scouts, we wish you a happy Halloween.
Bye everybody.
Have a good day.